can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Thomas Cathy. If you enjoy this video, please do subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. It's really much appreciated. Let us know what your prediction is for this fight as well. Brian Norman Jr. makes the first defense of his world title in Japan against Jin Sasaki, attempting to go 28-0, still only at the age of 24. Thomas, really impressive from Brian Norman Jr. Not many people become world champion at the age of 24. And it's his first defense. It's not an easy one. We were saying off camera, traveling to Japan at that age, against the Japanese fighter, against the fighter who's got a good record, is not easy. But what's your final prediction for this one, please?
Yeah, I see Brian Norman Jr. winning a fun fight via decision. I think that Sasaki will be just tough enough to make it the distance. And I'm not sure. I'm picking Brian Norman to win. I'm just not sure how good he really is.
Mm.
Um, I don't know where he stands with all of the Um, but the other title holders in the division personally, I think there's still quite a bit to be found out about him. And so, he's coming into his opponent's home turf um, against Sasaki, who has a good record. His only loss was to Andy Hiroka, who's a pretty solid fighter. Um, but I definitely think that Norman Jr. will win, but I think it will probably go the distance.
Yeah.
I'm a little torn on that. I wouldn't be surprised if Norman gets him out of there because he can punch.
Mm.
But you know again, like Japanese fighters like Sasaki are really tough, known to have a good chin, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made it the full 12.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think it's a really good one. It's I think on a Thursday afternoon as well, which is always fun. It's just not having to stay up late on a Saturday night. I also just think for Brian Norman to be 24 years old, making his first world title defense in Japan, um, is an experience, and that's just not something you see. It's not something you see that often, It's probably an experience in going to Japan in the first place, let alone going there and then kind of having a fight. Is it the most intimidating place to go? Possibly not. But Sasaki, 17 stoppages and 19 wins, a big puncher in his own right. So you would think we're going to see a stoppage in this fight based on what we're being told, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that. I think in this fight, we're going to work out if Brian Norman is either a star or a superstar. I think that's kind of the question here. I think he's going to win this fight, and I think he's going to get a stoppage at around round nine. I'm really like what I've seen of Brian Norman. It's just a case of how much do you want to push him? Do you want to be calling out Jaron Ennis, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney now, or are you going to wait? And the problem is he's a world champion, so it's it's maybe tricky to manage. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, including this fight. Thomas, if we're both right and he wins, of course we'll be asking afterwards, kind of what's going to happen next. Who's he going to fight next? Someone who we could fight next is someone I'm possibly maybe more aware of than you are. Echo Esserman, who had a fantastic night in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago, beating Josh Taylor, former undisputed champion Josh Taylor. From what you've seen of Esserman, is he a match for Brian Norman Jr. in your opinion?
I think that would be a great fight. Or I think it would be the next logical step. And say Norman fights Esserman in the UK. That would kind of continue. So he fights Sasaki in Japan, Esserman in the UK. I think that would be a feather in his cap, for two title defenses on quote unquote hostile territory. Um, I think that would be a good move for him. And Esserman looked really good against Taylor, obviously. Pretty diminished version of Taylor, but uh, he did look good nonetheless.
Yeah,
So I think, and he's riding high off of that win. It's his most uh, highest profile win. So I think it would make sense for him to, assuming he beats Sasaki, for Norman Jr. to step in uh, with Esman. And I think they should do that in the UK.
yeah. You know what, Thomas? I'm with you. I'm with you. I think that Echo Espen's promoter, Frank Warren, has always had a good relationship with the WBO. Some of his fighters managed to get kind of quite good rankings with the WBO. Um, and that's not happened with Esserman. Esserman deserves to be ranked where he is in that governing body. However, I think that that is a likely fight for Brian Norman if he wins, of course, against Sasaki, um, to then fight Esserman next. I don't know, November, December time. But I really think that fight could happen. And Norman's shown he will travel. I think Esserman would travel as well. Esserman would have that fight in the US, so we'll see. But I would really like to see that fight. Esserman, 36 years old, hasn't done much wrong in his career. Coming off the best win in his career, I would like to see it, but we will see. Thomas, good to speak to you as always. Yeah, really enjoy doing these videos with you and getting getting a few predictions around. Take care, and I'll speak to you again very soon.
Likewise, thank you.